Hello, hello. We are. Let's see how we're doing here. All right. We're gonna go live in about a couple seconds. Okay. All right. We are live. Okay. So we are live. Let's see where our viewers are. Let me go over to the Ironhack page. There we go. Okay. Mute this. All right. So we are live and we should be starting in about a minute or two. I am going to go ahead and open this in my phone because sometimes I should put this on mute. That's for damn sure. Let's see. How can I do this? It won't let me mute it. I guess I'll put the sound down. Okay, so I am here. All right, so anyways, so today, let's wait a few minutes. We should be having around 9, 10 or so people. So if you're just tuning in, this is a Facebook live stream where we'll be talking about how you can boost your marketing career by attending a coding bootcamp, or in other words, how learning to code can help you boost your marketing career. So I've worked in marketing for 5, 6 years now, and I worked across the spectrum for companies that were in the health sector, in education, in tech. And knowing how to code is essential. Learning how to code, whether it's a little bit or a lot, would help you as a marketer. So this stream is going to talk about all those kind of good things. And like always, please, if you have questions, if you have doubts, if you don't agree with anything that I'm saying, or if you want to add something to the conversation, please leave your comments on the Facebook Live post. And that way everything is gathered in one location, and we can I'll jump in and answer them as best as I can. So yeah, if you're listening, please let me know what your name is, where you're from, what you do, what kind of marketing you're involved with. So yeah, so we should be starting in about a minute or 2 or 3, something like that. Hopefully more people start joining in as we get started. So let's see. Again, I'm Jimmy Flores. I'm part of the Ironhack team. Ironhack is a coding bootcamp, so we teach people how to code, but we also teach UX UI design. So whether it's the coding part or the UX UI design part, whatever you want to learn, we're here to help. So this stream is specifically going to talk about how learning to code can help you improve as a marketer. So that's the intent. Please, if you're listening or watching on Facebook, let me know by commenting the Facebook post. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts, what you feel about this topic. If you have questions, if you agree or disagree, or whatever you're feeling, please let me know. We'll talk about all this kind of good stuff as soon as possible. So yeah, we should be starting soon. I see there's 3 people connected, so we'll see if we can get a few more on before we get going. Um, do you have any questions off the bat? Are there any things that you're curious to know, whether it's about how marketing and coding are related, or about Ironhack, or any of this kind of good stuff? Just go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I am at the office right now. There's an event going on in the background. I think it's a talk on, job placement and all this kind of good stuff within tech. So, so yeah. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me. It's Monday. I know not too many people are eager to stick around, but we'll be getting started in exactly 2 minutes. So we'll leave a 5-minute margin for people to start tuning in, and we've got 2 minutes left on that. So yeah, I mean, I would really like to know if you have any questions about this topic. What brings you here? Oh, there we go. So, should we give people, so what do you say? Should we give everyone a minute or two to connect or not? We had an event going, and there should be a few more people connecting, but if not, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, I have a whole little thing here presented. I think it'll probably take around 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, unless you start having questions and we can get into a more interesting conversation. So yeah, so I'm here. I'm part of the Ironhack content team. Really what I try and do is I try and answer people's questions about Ironhack and our boot camps as best as possible. And I try and show people the opportunity and the all the benefits that are after a boot camp. So this is one of our efforts in doing that. So yeah, why don't we just go ahead and get started now? So how can you boost your marketing career with a coding bootcamp? So this is one of those questions that I think is more relevant now than ever, because more and more people, more and more marketers are working for products that are digital, for products that are online, or their marketing strategies are wholly centered around everything digital, everything online. Kind of gone are those days where, as marketers, the only opportunities and the only avenues you had were mass media, to where you had to think of, billboards, print, and television. With now with a million tools like Facebook and all these different types of platforms where we can advertise on, and where we can reach people, all of a sudden marketing is now digital. Marketing has to eventually get transformed into ones and zeros and code. So the idea is, what can we do as marketers, and how can we improve as marketers by learning how to code? So I have 9 little tips here, and I'll go through them. And if at any point you have any questions or doubts, or would like some more personal help, please, ask those questions at any moment, because your situation is not the same one as everyone else's. So ask these questions, and I'll be able to give you at least my point of view. So the first thing to take into consideration is that learning to code is going to help you better understand your company's digital products. So a lot of us will be working for tech companies to some degree. So whether they're a mobile app or a SaaS product or a web app, whatever it is, all of these products are essentially built in more or less the same manner. The technologies they use can be different. The coding languages they use, that can be different. There's a million things that could be different, but they're all, they all revolve around code. So when we as marketers learn to code, we'll be able to better understand the product that our company builds, the product that our company sells, the intricacies of that product, the things that make it tick. We'll be able to better understand the lingo and the jargon that our developers speak. We'll be able to better understand what their what their world is all about. So learning to code essentially is going to help us bridge that gap between marketing and everything that our technical digital product is, and how how it's created, and how it makes it tick. Because up until now there's been a really a large gap between there all of these different departments in a company. There's been a large gap between marketing and sales, between marketing and the product, or the tech side, or the dev team. And all of these different areas have had gaps, and just these spaces in between them. So learning to code is really going to help build bridges across all of these departments. And especially as marketers, we want to better understand, because essentially one of the first pillars of marketing is to help build value around a product. So when we know exactly what the product does, how it's built, all of those unique pieces that go into a product, it'll help us better understand how to communicate this product. So I'd really like to know what your thoughts are on that. At any moment, please jump in, ask a question, leave a comment, ask for more specific feedback to your particular situation, where you work, how you work, the product you're working for, and I'll be able to better tailor all of this to you. And that's really possible. So please, jump in, leave a comment in the Facebook Live post, and we'll be able to better help you. So that's the first thing. Learning to code is going to better help us understand our company's digital products, and yeah. So the next point is, learning to code will help us be autonomous. There's a lot of moments as marketers where we're going to have more and more ideas that revolve around manipulating, editing, or having or doing something that deals directly with a website or a digital product. And at some point, we're going to send those ideas over to a dev team, or to a product manager, and we're going to be at their mercy to whether or not they can do it, whether or not they think it's a good idea, a bad idea. There's a million things that are going to come into play that will put you at the mercy of someone else. So when we learn to code as marketers, it'll give us that autonomy to make our own little experiments. And I'm not saying that if you learn to code, you'll be able to code the features that you think the product can have, and push them out into the actual users. It doesn't mean that. What it does mean is, a lot of times as marketers, we'll have ideas, and when we learn to code, we'll be able to build those ideas and build those experiments out in some fashion, to be able to test, to be able to work with real data without having to depend on getting our request accepted by a dev team or by anyone. So it'll help us regain that autonomy to be able to go from idea to let's call it minimum viable product, minimum viable content, minimum viable campaign, minimum viable something. It'll allow us that autonomy to go and build it. And then, really, if it turns out to be a positive experience, a positive experiment, sorry, then we can look at, requesting, more technical resources to build out, another version that's more powerful, more interesting, more fleshed out. So autonomy is key when looking to be a hands-on marketing manager. I think a lot of times this word strategist is thrown around everywhere, and to me, strategist means really nothing. I prefer a hands-on approach, to where you can go from idea to execution on your own. And this doesn't mean that you don't work with a team. On the contrary, you work with a team, but you're autonomous. You look to have all the tools, or as many of the tools that you'll need to launch your experiments without having to depend on someone else. So autonomy is absolutely fundamental to a marketer, and learning to code can give you that autonomy. The next point, and I'll repeat myself, I'll say this stuff over and over again, please, leave your questions, your comments, your suggestions, your personal stories on how you need market, how you're a marketer, and how you think learning to code can help you. If you tell me kind of the doubts or the whatever's happening in your own professional life, I can give you my point of view and my 2 cents on whether or not learning to code could help you in your career. So autonomous. The third point is less dev requests. So with this autonomy, you will submit less requests to developers, and this is absolutely key. Most companies, or even I'm probably going to go out on a limb here and say all companies that have a dev team, devs are never just sitting around with nothing to do. They always have a million things on their plate. There's always a backlog of work that has to get done at some point, and most teams are only working on the highest priority things. So the problem when we have an idea and that we need some dev resources is it's going to be met in an untimely fashion, because they already have the work in progress, that week's or that sprint's work in progress. They will have the backlog, which probably has a trillion ideas that at some point sales or marketing or someone else requested, and your idea is important to you. It's the highest priority thing for you in your life at that moment, but you're on a different timeline than the dev team. So when you learn to code, because you have this autonomy, you will be submitting less dev requests, because you will be kind of, let's say, solving your own problems. You'll be scratching your own itch. When you get an idea, you'll be able to develop it on your own, and you won't have to be continuously submitting dev requests that, quite frankly, will more than likely never go answered. And in the case they do, it'll be weeks down the road. So less dev requests is good for you, because you don't have to wait, and it's great for the devs because they're not overboard, burdened with even more petitions. And quite frankly, it makes conversations between you and the devs a lot easier and a lot nicer, because it's a much less I need this from you type of conversation. So less dev requests is definitely a plus. Again, if you're watching, listening, leave your questions or comments in the Facebook Live feed, and I will be jumping in and answering them as best I can. So, next point is higher quality dev requests. So, when you learn to code and when you have this autonomy, and when you begin to, kind of solve your own problems, you'll be submitting less dev requests. But in the moments that you do submit a request, you'll know exactly, what you need and why you need it. This reason why you need it, and this kind of, let's say, business case to why you feel this experiment needs to be considered a little bit more, is because devs are judging the work that they're doing based off of business value. So when you've gone out and when you've built your own experiment, when you've done your own little marketing experiment with your own idea, when you submit a request, it's at a point where you have some data. And having this data to be able to build an argument and a business case for why you need these resources is absolutely fundamental and crucial to getting your ideas and your requests built. So keep that in mind. This when you do get to the point that you submit a dev request, you'll be submitting a much higher request from these developers. So the next point is something that you'll probably find more interesting now, is you build more engaging content. I think this is one of the points that is absolutely fundamental to coding, is that once you, one second. So once you learn to code, you'll discover a whole bunch of new tools that you have in your toolbox. So one of those tools is, right now there's a big trend towards data-driven content and content that tells a story through information, whether through information and data. And a lot of times, as marketers, we don't really have access to those data sets that'll allow us to build out these pieces of content. So when we learn to code, we'll discover, the magic of APIs and the magic of, working with large data sets, because it's likely that our own company produces these large data sets, but we don't have access to them, or if we could have access to them, we don't know what to do with that information without involving developers. So, pulling it back to autonomy. So when we learn to code, as marketers, we'll be able to build more engaging content because we'll be able to have access to larger data sets, to APIs, to the part where we need to input information. But once we have all this information, learning to code, and depending on the languages that you learn, you'll be able to build, these data visualizations. You'll be able to build I don't want to say really, because it's not really infographics. Infographics is more of a flat type of piece of content. But these data visualizations that you can build by learning JavaScript, for example, are extremely powerful, and they're extremely engaging. You can build microsites. You can build content where it's not a passive experience between the person that is engaging with it and the person that created it. You can begin to build content where there's some interactivity, where the person that lands on it, they can actually do something with it. They can participate in it. And that's absolutely crucial for the future of content, that we begin to create things that are more engaging, that are more interactive, that really pull the person into your idea and into your world, so they have a memorable emotional experience with it. And when we learn to code as marketers, we'll be able to begin to take the first steps in creating these experiences so that our users in our audience could have a much better interaction with our company, with our product, and with our messaging. So build more engaging content. Again, if you have any questions, doubts, if you have anything that you would like to ask, please do it in the comments in the Facebook live feed. I'm here reading hopefully reading all of your comments. So, I want to make sure that we're answering the questions that you might have as it relates to this topic, or if you have some off-topic question, I'm all for that too. So, let me keep going here. Build your own marketing tools. And I think this is probably one of my favorite points. And as marketers, you'll get to a point to where you want to do something that you really can't find a tool to help you do. Or if you do find a tool that has that one bit that you want, it's way out of price. It's way out of range. It's too expensive to justify that one feature. So for example, some of the ideas that I've had that learning to code would help me is, I've had ideas to build like YouTube comment downloaders and scrapers and word analyzers. So I could go to a YouTube video, download the comments, and get a feeling for what's being said and the language that's being used. For example, for copywriters, that's absolutely essential to writing good copy, is writing copy that uses the same words that your audience is using. But how do you go and get a sample of all of those words and all of those phrases that are being used at scale without having to go one by one by one? So I don't really know of a tool that does that, and I could build it. I could, if I had the coding skills, I could build that tool, which would help me build better content. So as marketers, we'll always come into small little kind of inlets that will require us to use a tool. We'll get an idea of, I wish I could do this or that with this or that. And learning to code, will give us that autonomy to build small things, build small tools that will help us do our job a little bit more efficiently, because not everything exists, and each one of us has their own kind of way of working and way of understanding things, and we'll come up more than likely with ideas for tools that would help make our lives easier, but they just don't exist. So learning to code will give you the ability to build the small marketing tools that'll help you do your job a little bit better. So again, if you have questions, comments, please ask them in the comment section below, and we'll keep an eye on this. So the next point is better understand your own campaigns. So a big part to content marketing and to online marketing is we'll be creating campaigns across a variety of different platforms. You could be creating a campaign on AdWords, Facebook ads. You could create a campaign across a whole different slew of areas. You could even be creating your own marketing campaign on your own site. So all of this creates data, and all of this data needs to be analyzed. Not everyone has access to all of the best tools, but some of us do have access to some wonderful tools. So independently, all of these tools, for example, let's say one that's universal, Google Analytics. When you learn to code, there will be a lot of small things or a lot of really big things that you could do with Google Analytics that you would be hard pressed to do any other way if you didn't know how to code. Google Analytics has features to allow you to do split testing, to create your own variations, and learning to code will help you understand how that works within Google Analytics. You'll understand how to set it up, and you'll understand how to launch it. It'll help you better track events on your site. It'll help you better integrate external data sources into your Google Analytics. For example, a CRM that you might have. It'll help you better connect all of these pieces so that all of the data is flowing and is being attributed to the right source, and it'll help you do a better analysis of all of this data down the road. So learning how to code will ultimately help you better understand the performance of your campaigns. So we're almost nearing the end. If you have any questions, please, it's time to ask. Any time is great to ask your questions. So the next point is you become a real growth hacker. And I think this is one of those things that has gone highly, well, it's become almost as overused as strategist, as overused as, as the word marketing itself almost. So growth hacker in essence has been the convergence of marketing and technology. It has been where marketer learns to code, understands how the product works, and because of this deeper insight into the technical part of the product, the marketer has been able to have these almost eureka moments of, oh wow, if I did this and this, then I can create something. But most of the times, this has involved code and it's involved product. If you go and look for examples of successful growth hacking, there are lots and lots and lots of examples that deal with manipulating the digital product to some degree, whether it's doing some specific dynamic things on the fly, or whether it's completely recreating a product or a feature, or to some degree, code is really involved in real growth hacking. So when you learn to code, you will become that real growth hacker. You will have these insights to where you can create some extremely highly scalable marketing actions that can affect your product that won't require tons of input and tons of resources, because it's all handled almost automatically, and you'll build these very scalable ideas, or at least you'll learn to have the insights on how the technology works, to know how you can make it work for you. So that's kind of the big thing behind growth hacking that I think has become almost a cliche, where lots of people are calling themselves growth hackers, but I think to really call yourself a growth hacker, you should learn, or at least you should know a little bit of coding. So we're nearing the end. Please, if you have questions, ask them, because this is for you. This is to help, give you some personal help on how to boost your marketing career with a coding bootcamp, and by learning to code. So this last bit, what to learn. So a lot of times we say, okay, let's say you've gotten to this point, you see all the value and everything, you're like, okay, so what do I learn? Like, what am I supposed to start with? Because there's a lot of languages. So it's going to almost seem like we did this on purpose, but it just everything aligned perfectly. So we've just created this new blog post, and in this post, we detail what are some of the, what programming language you should really learn. There's a lot of programming languages out there, and I would say that this post does a really good job, and in a very short amount of time, to explain the pros and cons of a few of the biggest languages, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it. So you'll get to ask, there are a lot of times when you venture into this, what should I learn to code? You don't know what you don't know. You don't know which questions you should be asking. Maybe you discover the questions too far down the road, for whatever reason. So in this post, we start off by, establishing some questions that you can ask yourself when you do your own research or anything, and we give you some of the top coding languages that are really popular. PHP, you have Ruby, you have Python, and you have what we specialize in, which is JavaScript. And you can go and check out this blog post. I will put a link to the blog post in the Facebook Live comments section. So if you want to check out that blog post, either go to Ironhack's blog, which is at blog.ironhack.com, or go to the comments section in the Facebook Live feed, and you'll see a link to that post. So in my opinion, I believe that JavaScript is the language to learn. Our coding boot camps are JavaScript focused. We used to teach Ruby, but then we changed our curriculum over to JavaScript, primarily for a few things. One, it's because it's a highly ubiquitous language. You will find JavaScript in practically every single website, because it's the language that allows for interactivity. It's the language that allows for a person to land on a website and do much more than just see a picture or read text. It'll allow people to select dates dynamically, like in Airbnb. It'll allow you to create, mega menus like you'll find on Amazon. It can allow you to create, giant video players like you find in Netflix. It'll allow you to, basically anything that a user interacts with, JavaScript is there to do. So when you look at it from the marketing point of view, 99% of the things that you'll want to do are interaction based. You'll want a person visiting your site or discovering your piece of marketing collateral or content to be able to do something with it, to be able to input information, and to be able to read something as a result from it. So JavaScript is pretty much the language that is controlling all of those interactions. And then, you have HTML and CSS as well, which are foundational to everything. It's basically what tells a web page what should be on it and what it should look like, but what it should do and how it should function and how it should behave, that's pretty much all JavaScript. So have a look at this stuff, and if you have any curiosity to know more about our JavaScript bootcamp, you can visit this link, and I will also paste this link in the comment section in this Facebook Live feed. I'll pin this link, and basically what will happen when you click this link is you'll be bounced over to Ironhack's application form, and when you fill out this form, don't worry, I'm not forcing you to apply to anything, but when you fill out this form, this is the easiest way to download our course syllabus and curriculum, and it's a giant student guide that'll walk you through everything you need to know about our course, how it's set up, what you'll learn, and all this kind of good stuff. So you go, you click on that, you download your syllabus, and if you're interested, you can set up a call with one of our admissions reps, and they will be able to answer all of your questions that you might have about the bootcamp, about how it relates to your marketing career, all this kind of good stuff. So please, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes. See if you have any other questions, or maybe you want to ask something. I don't see any questions have come in, so hopefully everything's crystal clear. If not, this is the time to ask. I'm going to hang out here for you just for a couple of minutes, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. And for me as a marketer, frankly, it's like I find that at the bare minimum, knowing HTML and CSS has helped me fantastically. I work a lot with with our blog, well, not even our blog, let's just say WordPress in general, and having the ability to be able to style my own WordPress, to be able to build these things that I need from WordPress has helped me not have to rely or depend on anyone. But going even further beyond that, being able to build tools that you need as a marketer to be able to better integrate all of your data sources into either Google Analytics or a Kissmetrics or something along those lines is absolutely essential. So please, if you have any questions about how learning to code can boost your marketing career, this is the moment to ask. If not, I'll be signing off in a couple minutes. I hope that who's ever listened to this has found it interesting and valuable. Please, if you have any questions about how learning to code can help you boost your marketing career, I am all ears. I have all the time that you need. But if no questions come in, then I'll sign off in a couple minutes. So let me know, what do you do for a living? What kind of marketing are you in? Because if I know a little bit more about you, I can help you understand how marketing can help you in your career. But if you've gotten here a little late, then check out the replay of this. You'll be able to see it as soon as we're done streaming. And please check out Ironhack's events on our Facebook page, because we'll be putting up events for streams like this to help you better understand coding, UX. We'll impart workshops, so on and so forth. I just want to say thank you for these videos, and look forward to seeing. Yeah, no problem at all. I actually enjoy doing this. I really like talking about this stuff. Today's been a slow day for questions, but we got it done. We did it. We powered through. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be signing off in a minute unless you ask me your question. So I hope I've been able to cover this subject as thoroughly as possible within the 20-30 minutes that we've been together. So I don't see any questions coming in. So for today, I'm going to sign off. Good luck, and if you do have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and we'll answer them as soon as possible. So have a great Monday, and yeah, I think there's another stream on Wednesday, so check that out if you can. All right, bye bye.